Breaking news now in the Michael Cohen case. We have just learned that the chairman of the Enquirer Publishing, the executive, has been granted immunity in the Cohen case. That is a case brought on, as you saw just recently, by federal prosecutors that was handed by Bob Mueller's team to them. David Pecker is his name, publishing exec, met with prosecutors, we're told, to describe involvement of Michael Cohen, President Trump, in pre-presidency, obviously, candidate Trump, in hush money deals to women ahead of the 2016 election. The Wall Street Journal is reporting this, and the Wall Street Journal reports federal prosecutors have granted immunity to David Pecker, the CEO of the company that publishes the National Enquirer, in Cohen investigation. And the Wall Street Journal reports Pecker met with them in the manner that I just described, involving Michael Cohen and then candidate Donald Trump. Prosecutors are indicating that Dylan Howard, the chief content officer at the National Enquirer, a parent company, also will not be charged in criminal investigation of Michael Cohen. But the deal that everyone is talking about, that's breaking news according to the Journal, is David Pecker granted immunity. Your thoughts?
Well, I think that Bob Mueller is not looking for a legal case. He's looking to build a case for Congress for some sort of impeachment. He realizes that he can't do it on the legal side. And I think this is a bad move. The more and more they do this type of stuff, the American people are going to push back. It seems like they're trying to get rid of a duly elected president, whether you like him or not. I have my disagreement.
Kennedy, I want to go to you because you have met David Pecker. And, you know, as it pertains to this line of questioning and investigation, he fits in how?
He fits in because of his personal relationship with Donald Trump. And, you know, he's an incredibly powerful person who has overseen a lot of content and has been able to control that. And obviously, the National Enquirer, this is not the first foray they've had into presidential politics. You remember they broke the John Edwards story. When a lot of them.
Somebody else that was indicted on
a lot of stories.
Yeah. Elections issues.
But I'll say one thing, because I've heard Judge Andrew Napolitano say before that this idea that they brought the story and then killed it.
Catch and kill.
Catch and kill, catch and release, whatever it is somehow fraud. And I would push back against that, because if you want to get your story out, you go to the New York Times, you go to, a national television show. If you want money for your story, you go to the National Enquirer. It's not that you're trying to have your voice heard and talk about something that you think the public needs to know. Because let's be honest, when you're standing at the counter looking at magazines in the drugstore, usually the top of the National Enquirer says something that's not terribly believable.
You're selling your rights to the story.
You're just collecting money based on a past experience. It's a transaction.
Not that wasn't part of what you're talking about, but particularly with the Playboy model, Karen McDougal, as I understood it in the case, and that's the only reason why I'd say those words during this hour. But in this particular case, she actually wanted something more than just money. And it was her attorney who she believed was working with, the National Enquirer execs or someone on their behalf to help her not tell her story outside the National Enquirer so they could catch and kill.
I mean, but that's what the exclusive is. That's essentially what they're paying you for.
She wanted to be a model.
And British tabloids do this all the time. They pay a bunch of money, and that's how you learn about it.
People are in it for cash. But can I go back to what you said, Lawrence?
What does this have to do, though? One second. What does this have to do, though, if you talk about a case that Bob Mueller has handed to prosecutors? Is this part of that squeeze, Kennedy? Yes. You know David Pecker. Again, I come to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, this is a person that's probably got very valuable information, whether it's texts or emails with President Trump and with Michael Cohen and certainly with executives at his media company. But the thing is, what it goes back to is, will voters be surprised?
No.
And will it change how they feel?
But that doesn't matter.
I think the answer to both of those is no.
Can I please jump in? Because there are two separate issues here. I agree that the electorate, by and large, this is baked in for them. They see see this as, Trump from The Apprentice, whatever. But this is about, again, the justice system. This is not a giant witch hunt. You had to have done something for them to come after you. The guy from the Enquirer has to have something that is corroborating for them to talk to them.
I agree with you. They're following the trail of the money. I mean, it's very clear. You just follow the money to see if the law was broken
with crimes they didn't commit
somewhere along the way, and having him cooperate is part of following the money.
And that's where Michael Cohen's, sort of assertions in court yesterday or 2 days ago under oath is relevant, because that is what got you to the Enquirer guy. The Enquirer guy.
When you look at the paperwork, though, and we haven't seen everything that Michael Cohen agreed to, but we're seeing more, you understand that there are other entities who possibly could be charged. So just because you haven't seen charges doesn't mean they're not being talked to.
Almost definitely. There's a lot of people baked in.